Go ahead and call the meeting to order. Today is our work session for the Jackson County Board of Commissioners. Today, July 12th, 2022. Appreciate everyone being in attendance today. I'll note that Commissioner Stribling could not be with us in person, and he'll be participating by telephone. We're still waiting to find out about Commissioner Dietz. Hopefully, he'll be able to join us shortly. And then likewise, our county manager, Mr. Don Adams, is zooming in or remoting in, as well as our county attorney, Ms. Heather Baker. So at this time, Don, can you hear us?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you just good. I'll go ahead and start with item 1. Don, do you want to talk?
Yes, sir. I'll go ahead and just start us off on this. While Ms. Tucker's coming up to the podium, I'm pleased to announce to the board that we are now looking to move forward and reinstitute the Citizens Academy, and just excited about it and looking to open up the application process. And we'll rely on alumni and rely on commissioners and rely on just the general public to hopefully get people interested in this program. Ms. Tucker's done a good job of organizing everything, and so I'll turn it over to her to present the information to the board.
Okay, good afternoon, Commissioners, Chairman. I just wanted to update you on this year's Citizens Academy. It's going to be an 8-week course beginning on Thursday, September the 26th, and it will end on Tuesday, October the 25th. The sessions will be held at various county locations, and an outline detailing those locations will be shared at a later date. Each session will begin with a meal provided promptly at 5, and the presentations will be starting at 5:30. Participants will have a great opportunity to familiarize themselves about Jackson County's day-to-day operations. And just the first slide that you see here just goes through the 8 weeks and what you're going to see, which presentations you're going to see on each date. The second slide goes through the application process, gives you the deadline. They're due August the 11th, and we'll finalize August 16th, and we'll notify the participants September the 1st. And this next slide just gives an overview of the program itself and everything that they would be learning during the 8-week course. And here, the last slide is the application. And I can print some out if you know anybody who's interested. If you want to take some with you, that would be great. And just share with any family and friends who you feel like would be interested in taking it.
Any questions about this process? Unfortunately, we had to put it on pause during the COVID cycle, but I'm glad to get an opportunity to start this back. I think it's been a huge success, and I want to say thank you to Don Adams for starting this. I think it's been a welcome to our community to help educate people about government, and from this we've been able to obtain some individuals who have served on various committees, even people who run for elected office. So I think the fruits of that labor are very evident.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
We're excited.
Can anybody go online to fill this out?
Yes, it will be on the website as well. And it will be in the newspaper this week, the timeline. That's all I have.
Mr. Adams, anything else?
No, sir.
Okay, well, thank you, Carrie.
You're welcome.
Next is item 2. We have a presentation. Mr. Adams, do you want to tee anything up on this one?
We do have, I believe, Ms. Henry and Ms. Donaldson here to present a proposed program to provide some assistance for relocation for the businesses being potentially impacted by the NC 107 project.
Okay.
So I'll just turn it over to Ms. Henry.
Okay. Well,
Welcome. Good to see y'all. So I wanted to come forward this afternoon, and I've got Ms. Donaldson here with me from the chamber, and I wanted to bring this before the board and hopefully get your approval to move forward. So as you know, the R5600 project is moving forward, the road widening project of Highway 107. And I think it's important, and you probably remember this because it started honestly, I went back and looked through my notes. It's actually started back in like January of 2018. We started getting together and meeting a lot of internal partners as well as some external partners. Before, it was when I was at the Small Business Center, I was a part of those conversations, as well as the SBTDC from Western Carolina University, the Jackson County Chamber, Town of Silva, several other organizations. And really, the purpose of that was for us to come together and really understand the project and how we could be supportive of the businesses that were going to be impacted. And so we've worked together to make sure that we understood the factual information. And then as a result of that, as we are continuing to move forward, we know that there will be at least 35 businesses that will need to relocate as a result of this project. And we want them to know that we support them and we want their business to stay in Jackson County. And so as a result of that, I'm bringing forward to you, on behalf of the commissioners, economic development, and the Jackson County Chamber, we would like to establish the Jackson County Chamber of Commerce NC 107 Business Relocation Grant Program. And so these grant funds would be used for those businesses that are required to relocate due to this project specific, to offset costs not covered during their relocation to support them in those efforts. And so the grant would be to the Jackson County Chamber of Commerce, and they would administer this grant. And so each business would be eligible for up to $1,000. And so that's what I'm bringing forward to you right now. So I will, Mr. Adams, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Hey, will you mention that, so you've had conversations with our attorney and then also our finance officer, where the money's being proposed to come from?
So yes, that will be coming from the Economic Development Fund.
And I would just add, this is just a good opportunity to try to move forward and try to work with these multiple businesses that are impacted. This program, I believe, can be distinguished from other programs in the sense that I'm not aware of any other major DOT project that's had such a significant impact on just multiple operations. And so I do believe this does warrant a potential special program.
And at the end of the day, we want them to know that we're supportive of them. This is something that's outside of their control, but we want them to feel the support of the resources that exist. And this is a way that we can sort of help them feel that support.
Questions?
I see that each business can request up to $1,000, but there's 35 businesses.
There's at least, right now, because there's a section of the project that is still undetermined, so there's a section between, technically it's like, say, Walmart to Lowe's, that's undefined at this point, so we know 35 at this point.
Thank
So
you.
that's why it's at least.
So it's only for those businesses that are required to relocate.
Correct.
Would this be available to those individuals who currently lease the location, lease that property or building where they are? Or would it only be to the owner of that property?
It's for the business.
Good, okay.
It's specific for the business that has to relocate. So if say you're Mesquite Grill and you're going to have to relocate, you own the building, but you are also the business. So that would be one business. If you are, for example, the Liberty Tax, they don't own the building, but they are a business that's been forced to relocate. So the business would be the one eligible for that.
Okay, good.
What if they've already relocated?
They'll still be eligible.
Are most of those, Julie, businesses members of the chamber? I would think they would be. I'd hope so.
Quite a few of them are, Brian. Not everyone, and it doesn't matter one way or the other. We're still going to go visit with them in person and see them and potentially provide them this offer. So we're meeting with them either way, but but many of them are. And those that aren't, great opportunity for me, but also just more importantly, great opportunity for us to meet with a business owner that may need resources they might not be aware of through SBTDC, the Small Business Center, the Chamber, Mountain West Partnership, many others. So great opportunity for us just to see folks face to face and hear what their needs are.
Other questions?
Well, I just would like to make a comment and thank Tiffany, Henry, and all the partners, Ms. Donaldson and Western, just all the partners that have come together, because in talking to some of those business owners, they have expressed to me that you have reached out to them and they don't feel like they're totally isolated and victims of this situation. They feel like they're being supported, and that's so important. Thank you so much.
And that's been our objective from the very beginning of sort of creating this group, is to make sure that they didn't feel isolated, that they had the answers that they need. And that didn't mean we had them, but we knew where to go get the answers.
And for Commissioner Dietz, who's been able to join us, just to his benefit to bring him up to speed, we're talking about a program. We're going to take $50,000 out of our Economic Development Fund and set it aside and give it to the Chamber of Commerce, and they will hand this out in $1,000 increments to those businesses on 107 that are required to relocate. And so they would apply for this grant, and then they'd be given this grant, and Julie would administer it through the Chamber of Commerce as a way to help with some of the expense that may not be covered under other funds that they've received.
But they have to relocate to get it.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, thank you, Jim.
Can I add a couple of comments that I think is important for you to know? About the fund, it is coming from the Economic Development Fund. And this is that money that some of you may remember we talked about with the Allen Jackson Fund that had certain specifications required with it. Ms. Henry and I spoke with a member of Department of Commerce, I believe it was Iris, some time ago. And she did say we now have some flexibility with this money, but we need to stay, within the close to the parameters of what its need was. And both Tiffany and I, in talking about it, think, this and supporting our businesses, keeping jobs in the county by supporting the businesses moving is really the closest we're going to get to the intention of this money. And that's why we feel comfortable recommending that you do this with this $50,000 from the Economic Development Fund. But it is the chamber that needs to implement the program. The county can't really do this. The chamber can do it. And just to mention too, the chamber is a very small staff. They have their own grant program, and so they're going to have to extend some of their part-time staff to be able to do this. So some of this may also go to them in administrative funds for being able to administer it. And I just think both those points are important for you to know before you approve and move forward with the program.
Okay. Thank you, Heather, for that. Other comments or questions? Tom, do you have any?
Hey, Brian.
Yes, go ahead, Tom.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Ms. Henry, the $1,000 up to 1,000, that's just a one-time payment, right?
It is.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for all the good work you've done.
Thank you.
Do you happen to know how many of the businesses, maybe this is confidential information, have already received their payment from the state?
I have a growing list. I don't have like a specific number. I'd have to kind of look, but it obviously changes regularly at this point.
So they are moving forward with acquisition, in other words?
Yes. Actively, yes.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, too, I will make one other comment, and I believe, Tiffany, correct me if I'm wrong, but this really all started when you all were getting approached by businesses about trying to get assistance in regards to, when you relocate, it's just not moving expenses. They have things like permitting fees, whether it be business permits from the town or it could be code enforcement fees, things of that nature. And that really was the start of this conversation. And ultimately, instead of trying to go down the line of assisting, and the county has had a very long-standing policy that we don't release things like solid waste fees and things like building permit fees and things of that nature. So this is really a way to try to approach and help with those types of expenses without really altering the way we have to charge for our services.
Right, and I think, when this started, we had some businesses that were relocating. 911 addresses needed to be updated, so we knew the new location of the business. And so that's when we started talking internally. We wanted to make sure that we had, the forms in place, which are the business registration at the town of Silva, the occupancy use, and then you've got the sign permitting fee. So that's like, okay, if I'm going to go talk to a business owner and say, I know you've moved. What do you need? We also need to make sure that you do this. What's the next step for them? And so we wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page within the town, the county, and what that looked like. And so talking to Mr. Adams, we can't waive those permitting fees, those fees. How can we help them feel like we're not trying to, double charge them for something that they paid for when they got established to begin with? So what does that look like as they move forward? So this was a way for us to sort of circumvent not waiving the fee, but then also show them that support that we're trying to help them.
Any other comments or questions?
Is there a request form for this?
There will be. So the chamber will work with their grant committee to come up with an application for businesses to apply. And then they've got a list of the businesses that will need to relocate, and then they'll reach out to them based on that list.
Anything else? Well, it sounds like everyone is in favor of this. And if so, then we'll go ahead and place this on the agenda for our next business session for ratification.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next is item 3. This is concerning the architect selection for recreation projects. Mr. Adams, you want to say something? Rusty's here at the podium, but I'll let you go ahead and tee this one off.
Yes, sir. So just a reminder to the board, we did go out for a request for qualifications for architectural services for basically 2 parks that we're looking at. This is really the Qualla Whittier Park that's located below Smoky Mountain Elementary School. It's just a reminder, everybody, we're still waiting on the results from the Parks and Recreation Trust Fund grant application. And the second part of this was starting on the master plan in Cashers. Just as you recall, there was a recreation master plan put together and approved that included the removal of the pool and the build out of a splash pad. And as we went through our budgeting process, there's a lot of favorable feedback from the board in regards to trying to at least proceed forward with maybe removal of the pool and the build out of the splash pad. So ultimately, the response we've got, and I'll have Rusty go over, is from Equinox, and ultimately we're looking to move forward eventually with 2 separate contracts. One contract would be to move forward with the splash pad and Cashers, and the other contract would be to move forward with the Qualla Whittier Park. The splash pad and Cashers would move faster because we're attempting to try to get something in place before potentially next summer. So if you chose to move forward, then we would try to come back with a contract for the splash pad first, and then we'll have to wait until we hear from Pardiff in regards to the Qualla Whittier Park. And I'd asked Rusty to just briefly go over the response from Equinox, just so you all know that we're working with a good architect firm.
Thank you, Don. Again, like you said, Equinox, is no stranger to working with Jackson County. So I'll just list a couple of the projects that we've dealt with them. And I've been working with the county since '96. The first plan I worked with them was a master plan update, which was in 2013. Judicola Rock, they had a big hand in redoing that. Judicola Rock with the restoration program of that. Here recently, the build of Savannah Park, they were the leading architect and the construction management oversight for that park. And just like Don said, we just recently completed the Cashers Recreation Master Plan, which details the splash pad that we're talking about moving forward with. And also, they created a plan, the Dillsboro Heritage Park Plan, which is still on hold, which they did do a plan for that, a conceptual plan. And just to name a couple other ones that you'll read in the packet that you've seen also, within Jackson County, Equinox has worked with the Ramble Greenway Master Plan implementation plan. They also did some work at Bridge Park, as well as did the Scotts Creek Watershed Plan and the Dillsboro Shoreline Restoration Plan. So like I said, Equinox is not a stranger to working in Jackson County. They've dealt with this. They implemented the Cashers Recreation Master Plan, so it's a good fit for them to move forward with it as well with this splash pad. And to let you know, me and Michael and Eric Farmer from Cashers, we met with the Cashers Community Council about 2.5 weeks ago, sit down and talk with them to let them know the process also, that we're moving forward with this on y'all's approval, and they were okay with it as well. So they know we're moving forward with this process also that will entail, which will actually will demolish the pool, the tennis courts, all that area up in there will be demolished, and then it will start out with phase 1 of the splash pad area. And like Don said, with the second project, which is the I can't even talk today, Qualla Whittier Park, is that the Cardiff grant, we should know something around October, November, somewhere along in there about whether or not we got the plan there. So any questions on Equinox that's not included in the package y'all see in front of you?
No, sir.
Have you gotten any feedback from the Pardiff grant? I mean, do they, I don't know
No,
if they do.
it's just they let you know when it's decided. Yep, they don't give you any updates with it. No.
Okay.
No.
I think this splash pad, I believe they have a splash pad component in the one at Canton.
They do.
Yeah, and it just recently opened, that one.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just this year they opened it for the first time as that component of their overall nature park master plan, and it's been pretty high.
Yeah, like I said, those are some growing things that you see in a lot of parks and recreation departments now. Is going towards more of that splash pad to where you don't really have to have lifeguards. It's not really supervised other than parents there with them, because you don't have any water whatsoever, because it all seeps into the drainage. So there is no standing water whatsoever on most splash pads that are created nowadays.
Yeah, they're very popular. I know last week during the height of all that heat, my wife and kids went to meet some friends down in Greenville, South Carolina, at a brand new splash pad area.
I'm not. My brother lives down in Greenville, and I got a chance to go see it.
Yeah, well, they sent. Of course, they had to send me pictures of them playing in the water and me sitting at the office in the sun.
Yep.
But, it looked nice, and a lot of kids love it.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's going to be a great welcome addition to Cashers, don't you, Mark? Especially with the club right there, the Boys and Girls Club on the plateau. I think they're going to just really enjoy that.
Brian?
Yes, go ahead, Tom.
I was just a question for Rusty that, well, it wasn't a question, but I mean, they also did the Bridge Park last year.
Yes.
The Equinox.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, did a great job there.
So they did all that at Bridge Park, as well as did the Scotts Creek Watershed Plan as well. So they're very apt from doing anywhere from ecology to planning to design. And they just recently, I guess, are in contract with, I believe the name is Withers Ravenel, who is very, expertise in splash pad implementation. So.
Who also?
Now, did Equinox do the one in Canton?
Yes.
Yes.
They did. Okay. Good.
That's what's in their package.
Yeah. Yes. The Chestnut Nature Master Plan.
Other questions or comments? Don, do you?
So
Thank you,
really, just a reminder to the board that you did approve a budget this year that included the architectural cost associated with the splash pad. And so what we're just looking for is consensus to move forward, and we'll bring back the contract for the splash pad initially to the board. And we plan on bringing back a contract to the board, sometime in October when we find out the status of the Partif grant for the Kuala Whittier Park.
Okay.
So a consensus to move forward is what we're looking for.
Mark, you okay with moving forward?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
got a word.
Okay, go ahead.
First off, if anybody's been to your office, I don't think it's real bad at work.
No, it's not. It was pretty hot though, even.
Yeah, I know the rocking chairs on front. You know,
It said 97, boys.
I've been sitting here listening, but I'm more and more I hear about PAD, the more I think this is a great, great idea. And not only that, I think Downfield would like to have one.
It's a good thing. I mean, it really is.
I've talked to some of those people, and maybe we could talk to them, and maybe between the two of us do something here in town. And I don't, it's not only a thing for kids to get out there to cool off. It brings parents and those kids into town, and it helps the economy in this.
Exactly.
And I don't want us to forget about a park we're talking about where we can damn skate.
Yes, sir.
Where we at on that?
We're still trying to find property. That's the first thing is trying to find some property. I've been talking with Main Street Silver Association as well as Jay Spiro to try to look at some possibly some areas that will accommodate a skate park of that nature.
And there's several town board members that are actively
Yes.
pursuing that.
Yeah, Mary, we've been talking with Mary. Yes.
Very.
Yeah, we've met several times on that, just to let you know, an update. We've met several times and trying to get our heads together.
All right, mate, then we're gonna do it.
Yep. You can get us some property.
Well, give you some of that.
How much property are you looking for?
Well, that's something, once we find some property, then it might be something we actually have some community engagement meetings to see exactly what we want at that park. Like I said, it's not only gonna be a skate park, but it's actually gonna possibly be other areas for, rollerblades or something like of that nature. So we don't wanna limit ourselves to just skating with skateboards. You might wanna open it up to possibly biking as well. So like the one.
Boards.
Exactly.
No.
So you're looking at probably anywhere from acre to 5 acres. It also depends on support amenities, bathrooms, stuff like that, as well as
Would
parking.
a splash, I'm going to be silly, would a splash pad and a skate area be?
I would say it would fit together. Yeah. I mean, you've got kids there, so therefore when they're skating, not skating, and they could go into the splash pad. So it could be something that could be a whole conglomeration of things that are there. Just everything to be
Yeah,
there.
I don't care how to get it.
Conglomeration.
You're doing good.
Thank you.
Educated.
So Commissioner Dietz, are you in favor of them bringing back a contract?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was up at Savannah the other day at the park,
Yes, sir.
and I guess everyone has been up there, but now I hadn't, I swear I'm sorry. But I went in up there and I had me a sandwich, and I wanted to just go in there by myself and sit there and eat that sandwich. And there's a lady there and her 2 kids, and sweat was pouring off of them, and she was walking, and she was getting ready to leave, and I said, "Did you enjoy your stay here or something?" She said, "I love this. Come every day," she said.
Good.
And she did a bit more leave, and there's another woman pulled in with 2 more kids. They're a little bit younger, and they got on all those slides
Mm-hmm.
and all of that, and that place was so nice and clean.
Well, thank you.
Thank y'all for doing that.
I will pass that along to
I
our
went
park
to
staff.
another county this past Sunday, and I walked in there and sat down at some picnic tables under a shelter.
Mhm.
And I thought Rusty needs to be here, because them tables were had real good tables, real good everything, but they weren't being kept up. They needed painted. It wasn't but 4 or 5 hour job was probably for them, but
Right.
anyway, thanks for all you do.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Back to the question, Commissioner Dees, are you in favor of bringing a contract?
Yes. No, I'm all in favor.
Okay. Commissioner Striblin?
I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good deal. And on the same vein, we just mentioned a conversation. What is our policy about bicycles on the Greenway sidewalk section at Mark Watson? Do we allow bicycles?
Yes.
Okay, because I had an individual ask me that question this
I mean,
week.
it's for everybody. And it's just what we try to do is make sure if bikes and strollers and whatnot are on there, just be conscientious of who's on there.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
very good.
I wanted to say I walk the Greenway a lot, and I appreciate so much after that accident that y'all kept it open and are obviously mitigating that. And I heard also from some of the Public Works people that you had requested for DOT to put up some guardrails.
Yes, we have.
That curve, people fly by, and the safety, obviously, of our citizens. So thank you so much.
Yeah, we've been playing phone tag with Chris Lee,
Yeah.
NCODOT, possibly get him down there to look at that.
Right.
That one section, we've had
he could
right at 4
see.
wrecks now within the last year and a half
Yeah.
in that same vicinity. So,
Exactly.
yep.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
I did have someone stop me on the street and say that they would like y'all to put road bond on top of the gravel until you pave it. I passed that on.
Well, I've talked with Caleb from Parker Paving. He's going to try to get us scheduled next month.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Any other questions for Rusty while he's here? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank y'all very much.
Oh, yeah. All of our rec things are used so much. It's wonderful.
Next is item 4. This is talking about the Center for Domestic Peace, the lease, and Ms. Baker's going to present. But Don, do you have any opening comments on this one?
No, sir. I'll just turn it over to Ms. Baker.
Okay, thank you. So as you're all aware, Reach of Macon County ended 10 years of providing service to Jackson County for domestic violence and sexual assault in actually as of July 1st. So a couple years ago, they have passed on the domestic violence services to Center for Domestic Peace, and we're sharing office space with Center for Domestic Peace until July 1st, when they handed over the sexual assault services and human trafficking services to Center for Domestic Peace. So now CDP is providing all of those services, and Reach of Macon County can go back and concentrate on Macon County. They sent a nice letter, you've probably seen, terminating their interest in the lease as of this time, since they no longer need it. And so, of course, Center for Domestic Peace would very much like to continue their office space as well. For those, I think most of you are familiar with where the space is, but it's in the county building located just above the library. I always think of it as the Employment Security Office, but now it's NC Works is still there in half of it, and Center for Domestic Peace in the other half. This lease, because it is a lease to a nonprofit, can be longer than a year, and therefore we've done various lengths of leases for nonprofits. Don thought that this would be 3 years would be a good lease here, and I agree with that. It's a good term for this lease, but we did it. I think I did this for 3 years and 10 months, or I'm sorry, 3 years and 9 months, just to get it back eventually to a June 30th end date. So it didn't stay on an October, September date, just to get it back in the fiscal year. So the reason this one would not begin until October 1st is because there is a 30-day notice requirement. If you decide to move forward and grant this lease to Center for Domestic Peace, at your next meeting, you could call for that notice to be published in the paper. It's not a public hearing, so no hearing has to be held, but it does need to be published in the paper, and then you cannot take action on it until after 30 days have passed. So that would put it into September, at a September meeting, before it could be finally approved. So Don, under his authority, has signed a short-term lease from July 1st through September 30th to allow time for this lease to move forward. And I'll be glad to answer any questions you have on the lease.
So the action, Heather, just to recap, would be at our next meeting, assuming the board wants to move forward with this, we would officially ask for staff to advertise the lease, and then we would await any kind of comment or feedback from the public if anyone had a concern or issue, and then at some point after a waiting period, how many days did you say?
30 days.
30 days, then we could take action at the next business meeting to officially approve it. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions from the board members?
Would a public hearing be necessary or beneficial?
It's not necessary, but I don't know if it'd be beneficial either. Heather, any thoughts?
Well, the only thing, we've done several nonprofit leases. All of the leases are at the old courthouse, at the library. Those are all nonprofit leases. And Commissioner Jones, that we've done a similar procedure for the radio, for the public radio to be on the tower. And so whenever we've done those leases, we followed the statute and not gone outside of that. So that would be, you can certainly choose to do it. It would just be different than what you've done in the past.
And we can always take public comment during any of our regular meetings if someone wanted to speak to it.
I just think there'd be a lot of positives,
Yeah.
is where I was going with that.
Are you in favor?
Yes.
Commissioner Woody?
Yes.
Commissioner Deeds? Commissioner Striblin, are you in favor of adding this to the agenda?
Yes, Brian.
Thank you so much. All right, Don, if you and Heather will work to get that on their agenda and we'll be ready to
Yes, sir.
move forward.
Yes, sir.
Okay, next is item 5. This is a couple of different items, so I'll let our county manager present these two.
Yes, sir. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to share my screen. And so I'm going to give just a little bit of history on this. And if everything works out appropriately, then that 3-year lease or 3-year 9-month lease is going to work out exactly correct with the Center for Domestic Peace. So that hopefully we have a new facility for them to move in versus leasing a facility. And so ultimately, what I'm going to do, let me share my screen, because what I want to do is I just want to make sure we got a little bit of history here. Does everybody see my screen?
Not yet. What are you sharing?
I'm sharing. You should be able to see my, it's like a desktop. It's my Windows Explorer. Does nobody see that?
Not yet. They're working
It says I'm screen sharing.
I can see it, Don, on the Zoom, but I'm not. But for some
Hey,
reason, it's not.
hey
showing
guys,
on
sitting
their
over
screen.
there, you might need to pull it where they can see it.
Yeah, they're working on it.
IT. Because it says I'm screen sharing.
Yeah, all we can see is is the letter.
Is it Brian over there? Is it Brian at IT? Who's sitting? Brian, can you see it?
Yeah, they're having a problem right now getting it to our screen. They're working on it. Give them just a second.
Okay. You want me to redo it?
Hold on just a second. Is it just the blank window screen, Don?
No, I'm going to stop and reshare.
Okay. Well, it's on here now.
Click on it. Is it?
Yeah.
You should be able to see. It's not a blank screen. It's my. What you should see is an aerial photo.
Okay. No, we don't see that.
Do you see that, Heather? The aerial photo?
No, I just still see your Windows.
I don't.
Files.
All we see is a Windows desktop.
All right. Well, apparently I don't know what I'm doing. That doesn't even look like my desktop. All right. Well, I guess we'll just we'll just go back to go ahead and pull up I was going to give a little bit of history for everybody, but I don't understand why it's not letting me share. Okay. I don't even know what screen that
I
is.
can see that aerial now, Don. It's on my screen. I can see it now.
We don't have it yet.
Okay. All right. Well, just go ahead and I'm going to stop sharing. Somebody go ahead and just pull back up. On your side, go ahead and pull up the attachment so that they can see it. All right. Can somebody pull that up?
I'll let you know when we get there.
All right.
Well, irony fella working on it.
They ate every bean. Phil has just been battling the groundhogs. It's terrible. Our tomatoes are doing good. But
Okay, Don, we're back to where we've got the attachment for Exhibit 5A on the screen, the letter.
Okay. I can't see it on my end. So ultimately, what you have in front of you is you have the letter from Clark Nexon. This is in regards to the domestic violence shelter building project. Just a reminder that we are working with Mountain Projects. They have agreed to donate property off of what is the road that's the property that's behind Cookout in that area. I can't remember the name of that road. I can't pull this up. I believe it's Plum Street that's behind Cookout.
Yes.
Plum Street that's behind Cookout. So we're very pleased that Mountain Projects is willing to work with us. If you recall, what had been presented previously to the board was a proposed project of 7,000 square foot facility to be built on that property donated from Mountain Projects. It was actually going to be a 2-story building that's 3,500 square feet on each floor. The actual estimated cost of the project itself, let me pull this up, is about $4,098,994. And again, I apologize. I would have had this in front of me if I could share. The budget itself is $4,098,995. But if you also recall, we had an additional $125,000 for planning and project administration. So the total budget was $4,223,995. We did receive a $2,111,998 grant from Dogwood. The 50% match of the same amount of $2,111,998 comes from the county funds. It was decided to utilize the savings from ARPA in order to fund that. Ultimately, what we have in front of you is the proposed contract. Basically, the proposed contract, and whoever has that on, they will take that to page. It doesn't have page numbers at the bottom of it. 4 should have the schedule and compensation. Nope, that's the wrong one. You need to go back and do 4A.
Go all the way back.
Our 5A. 5A. There you go. Now scroll down. I was going to share all this with you so I could. All right, right there. So as you can see, if you look at the timeline we move forward with Clark Nexon's contract, proposed contract, ultimately, bear with me, let me find that. Ultimately, you can see there's about 285 days worth of programming, schematic design, design development, construction documents, and bidding. And then there's another 300 days worth of construction. So you're ultimately looking at around probably around 2 years from at least 2 years from the time we get moving with this program. The proposed fee is $330,000. That is over the life of this project with an estimated actual construction cost of $3,500,000. I know I said the project cost was $4,098,000, but the rest of that is additional cost associated with the project itself. So what we're looking for is what you have is this is the summary of the actual this first document. The attachment 5A is the summary of Clark Nexon's proposal. And then 5B is the actual AIA contract that the board would be voting on. And ultimately, pretty much what this is doing is putting it in a legal document for the board to vote and move forward with. Just a reminder to the board, we did go through a request for qualifications process, and Clark Nexon was chosen to be the architectural firm to move forward with. So this is really like the board just agreed to move forward to bring a contract from Equinox to you. This is really the next step in this process of bringing the contract before the board so that we can move forward with the domestic violence shelter process. Just so you know, the timeline of the Dogwood grant is we have until November of 2025 to complete this project. So that gives us 3 years. So the timeline, again, going back to the lease with them, the timeline matches up so that hopefully everything moves forward. Now we have a 2-year timeline. I'm hoping that they'll be getting out of that lease before 3 years, to be honest with you. But hopefully we'll get it done in a couple of years, but we do have 3 years to expend the grant funds.
Okay. Any questions about this? And how soon would we need to take action on this?
I'm requesting the board, if you're willing to move forward, to put it on the next agenda. This is something that's the grant has been approved, Dogwood grant. The county dollars have been approved. It really is just a matter of voting on this contract so that we can start the planning phase of this project.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. No other questions. We'll take this up at our business session then. All right.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. And
Go ahead and talk a little bit about 5B.
Yeah. So this is something that the board doesn't really need to make any decisions today, but I want the board to start thinking about it. The 116 Central Street property, that's the small piece of property that's just down the road from the Justice Center. It used to be the TDA property, used to be the chamber property. I believe we had a engineer and architect, somebody that surveyor used to rent it. Is everybody familiar with the property that I'm talking about? It's just right down the street.
A little bitty piece across from the Presbyterian Church, a little bit of office space.
Used to be Chamber of Commerce once.
Yeah, used to be Chamber of Commerce. Yeah. So that one's been vacant, obviously, since TDA has vacated it. Since then, I've been approached. I've been waiting to see if there's any county use for that property. Had some potential uses for it that really just did not work itself out. So at this point, I've been approached by both nonprofit and private businesses being interested in this piece of property. It's really difficult for county to utilize it. It's a small space. it looks larger on the outside than it really is. It's less than 800 square feet. It's got basically a bathroom in there, one office, and a little conference room, I guess, if you want to call it that, maybe a little storage, but it's a little less than 800 square feet. But it is an important piece of property in regards to, I think we need to make sure that if we do choose to lease it out, that we lease it out to an appropriate use, because that is a main corridor coming into Silva. And we want to make sure, our maintenance folks did a really good job when the TDA moved in there as far as putting plantings and so forth. So I do think we need to give some thought in regards to who we lease it to and how it's maintained. And so if you would come talk to me afterwards, if you got any ideas. Again, I've been approached by private entities, anywhere from electric company to a real estate agent, to a nonprofit wanting to try to move in there also.
Okay. Yeah, we'll just kick that out, some ideas around in our head, and just sort of want to get this on everybody's radar to be thinking about, and at some point in the future we can have some more formalized discussions.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything else from you, Don?
No, sir.
Heather, did you have anything else today that we need to talk about?
No, I don't. Thank you.
As we do our other business, Tom, I'll give you a chance to go first. Anything else you need to bring up today?
Do I need what, Mr. Chairman?
Anything else, other business, anything you want to bring up today? Perhaps?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Commissioner Jones, anything?
It's been interesting that Mr. Adams know how much that property is worth that you were talking about there on 116 Central Street.
Okay. We can research that and
Yeah.
provide some background information.
That's it.
Commissioner Woody, anything else today for you?
Yes, I attended the Seeds and Soil conference that Dr. Chancellor Kelly Brown held at Western Carolina University at the end of June. And it's for nonprofits and how they interact in our community and a chance to network. And they had this panel of professors from Western with a nonprofit like Vicinios, the head of Vicinios, the head of the Center for Domestic Peace was there, and how that professor and that nonprofit person work together through providing internships, providing expert research, and it was just really gratifying to see. But there was a Dr. Caravellis who works in crime. I mean, that's not, she doesn't work in crime. Sorry. No, crime prevention. Anyway, she mentioned some research that was being done on the opioid. And the person that's doing it is Dr. Al Kopek. And he actually lives here in Jackson County and is now working for Mayhack. And I reached out to him just to find out a little information. And he said, I've been collaborating. Oh, I'm sorry. He said, my name's Al Kopek, and I work with Dr. Caravellis as a faculty member at WCU's Criminal Justice Program. That's the program. I recently joined the Mountain Area Health Education Center, Mayhack, as a research scientist specializing in substance use and criminal justice issues. So he's been working. I've been collaborating with Jackson County Sheriff's Office for the past few years to document the needs of people who use drugs who've been admitted to the detention center. As an engaged county resident with some information related to potentially effective program options. That was the key for me. And so I asked if at some point he'd be willing to come and share at one of our work sessions to give us some background on information that is real local and real current.
He's presented here once before.
Okay. Maybe that was before I was a commissioner. But anyway, I was wondering if we could put him, because we've gotten that first installment, opioid money, and, you know, you have asked us to think about how we might want to start using that. I think it'd be a wonderful opportunity to have this person come and share what he has found through his research, especially. It's intriguing to me that he's been working with our sheriff's office. And then that will give us a start in looking at how we can be most effective in using those things. Could we invite him to one of our work sessions?
Yeah.
Okay,
We can look at that on the agenda.
that'd be great. Thank you.
I think if Heather, you maybe can help me, or Don. Did he not present? Was it at the joint meeting of the municipalities? Was that where I remember his presentation, or was it here before our board? Anybody recall?
I seem to recall him providing information when we went into partnership through the sheriff's office, that he came and presented information about the programs that they were working when they got those grants
Correct.
through the
That's
sheriff's
what I was
office.
thinking. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll follow up and.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Don, I'll forward you his information if you need it, if you don't have it.
If you would, please. Hey, Carrie, if you would, just write me a note on that.
Okay. Commissioner Deitz, you have anything? No?
Mr. Chairman, if I'm not incorrect, several years ago when you and I first came back on this board, I came on, we had a little bit of controversy about the fireworks. We didn't even have fireworks.
Correct.
And as a board, we decided that was important, and it brought a lot of people in here, and it was something that we just owed the community. And I don't know if any of y'all were out or around the other night. It's just amazing how many people come out for that in this county and wherever all they come from. You can't find a parking place from the hospital back to the Elbert Hall.
Right.
And it's just amazing.
It is.
It was.
That made me feel good. It was doing something that was that people were taking advantage of enjoying that much.
And to add to the enjoyment, I give people another opportunity. You know, last year we did the holiday fireworks, and they're going to do that again this year in December. And it's already started advertising it. I said they beat Lowe's and Walmart to the punch on getting Christmas out. Because they've already started advertising the holiday fireworks for downtown Silva. And I had people last year from Buncombe County who saw that advertisement and said, you know, we're going to go to Silva and see those holiday fireworks. And so it was widely viewed from just not here locally, but brought a lot of folks into our community to see them. So maybe that'll grow as well. Yeah. Okay, I don't have anything else for staff to work on this work session or any requests. So with that being said, I guess we're ready to adjourn unless, Don, do you have anything else? Okay, all right, we'll have a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So,
All right, we have a motion and we have a second. Second. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.